afternoon, just about 1:15, um, March 8th, 2024. I'm looking up a poem. If I can find the whole thing. Sometimes it's not so easy. Naomi Shihab Nye wrote a poem, Kindness. A little long. But I think I might read it. It is about kindness. I think I mentioned that. Maybe we'll take it one stanza at a time and see how it unfolds. Kindness has been, before I start reading it, kindness has been on my mind quite a lot lately, because I think it's the answer to, I think we have a kindness deficit. Maybe not one-on-one, but in groups, tribe against tribe. I think when we meet someone on the street, if we saw someone fall, instinctively, I think we would reach to help them. However, when we start being a group, when we start being a tribe, when we start being a political party, when we start being us against them, and someone always has to be a them, we always need a them, we run into problems. We're less apt to be kind because it's a them. Although the entire Bible is filled with instructions on how to be kind. The New Testament, how to be kind. Literally lessons on how to be kind. Maybe more of a reminder that inherently we were built to be kind. We were built to be cooperative. We wouldn't have survived otherwise. If it was us against nature, just us alone, we would long since have perished. Our friend Odom's Homestead is here, saying, hey, just a Yogi doing burpees in his basement. Odom, how are you? Have you gotten some sunshine today? A lot of people would look to nature and think that it is not inherently kind in and of itself because it's filled with what appears to be violence. However, nature can't be judged that way. We're seeing it through the lens of our eyes. A volcano isn't violent. It's not seeking destruction. A volcano is expressing its volcano-ness, the essence of a volcano. The wolf isn't seeking to be mean to caribou, to elk, to a deer. It is seeking to feed its young. And in return, the species, the herd of deer, becomes stronger. You see kindness displayed all through life, all through reality, all through the animal kingdom, even in plants. When a tree falls, the other trees pull resources and send nutrients through the intricate web system beneath the ground to keep that tree alive as long as possible. And then when that tree does eventually die, it dissolves back into the earth where it nourishes the other trees. Odom says that he's good, but now it's still raining. Wow, that's a lot of days. It is, looking out the window. It was sunny this morning, a little bit on the cool side, but not too bad. But we're expecting rain tonight. So it'll be again another day later in the day, but still a day with rain. And it's been that way, I really think, for 2 weeks now. It's been raining every day. So let's take this slow and read a little bit at a time, maybe discuss it. Odom says, clear up tomorrow afternoon. That's good. Hopefully it'll be on the weekend, so it'll be a day off for you, and you'll get out and get some work in your garden done. So again, this is by Naomi Shihab Nye. She's a Arab American. Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. Feel the future dissolve in a moment like salt in a weakened broth. What you held in your hand, what you counted and carefully saved, all this, all this must go, so you know how desolate the landscape can be between the regions of kindness. How you ride and ride, thinking the bus will never stop. The passengers eating maize and chicken will stare out the window forever. Before you learn the tender gravity of kindness, I love that line. Before you learn the tender gravity of kindness, you must travel where the Indian in a white poncho lies dead by the side of the road. You must see how this could be you, how he too was someone who journeyed through the night with plans and simple breath that kept him alive. Before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak to it till your voice catches the thread of all sorrows, and you see the size of the cloth. Then it is only kindness that makes sense anymore, only kindness that ties your shoes and sends you out into the day to gaze at bread, only kindness that raises its head from the crowd of the world to say, "It is I you have been looking for," and then goes without you everywhere, like a shadow or a friend. So she's talking kindness, but it's in the language of empathy. Destiny is here. First Odom says, yes, he has a lot to do. And our friend Destiny is here saying, how are you? And before I answer the question, well, let me answer it first. I'm doing very well, Destiny. Thank you. I want to say happy birthday to our friend Destiny Forever Walks, PhD. And our friend Brian Lane is here. Brian, how are you? Kindness cloaked in the language of empathy, or empathy cloaked in the language of kindness. You can't separate the two. Here she is saying that before we can know kindness, we have to lose things. Feel the future dissolve in a moment like salt in a weakened broth. It's interesting. I don't know, as I completely agree with what she's saying. She says it beautifully so. And I understand it. And I think it might be more true today than it was years gone by. I see, for me, this is so much about empathy. When we can relate to someone struggling, the struggling becomes ours, and we are more apt to put our heart out. I think we've lost that in the, I'm going to get slightly political here. I think we've lost that in the talk on immigration. That if we ourselves, with our family, with our children, in tattered rags and bare feet, were at the border of another country, how would we wish to be treated? And when we put ourselves in that position, the politics change. This is why whenever someone says, are you Democrat, are you Republican? I always say I paraphrase the Dalai Lama, my politics is kindness. I vote for the kind policies. Doesn't mean I don't believe in defense. It doesn't mean that I don't believe in border security, but I believe in kindness. I believe in treating everyone kindly. Have I ever did mean things? Yes, of course I have. And I've learned from them. I've learned as much from the meanness that I've inflicted upon others as I have from the meanness that has been given to me. I think more so. Because I carry the meanness that I've done to others, the injuries, the insults, I carry that with me still. While the things that have been thrown at me, I've largely shrugged off. Let's see. Brian says, I'm I'm doing just fine. Thanks for asking. How is your day going? My day is going pretty well. Um, Again, it was sunny. I got outside for some decent walks twice a day. One early in the morning, just before 5 a.m., and then the other with Mocha and our dog Misty. We went out. We took some videos of some ducks. We saw a hawk several times, but unable to uh, capture it in film. I got one of a hawk 2 or 3 days ago that I haven't posted yet. Destiny says, thanks, Eric, for the birthday wishes. Many blessings to you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I hope you have a wonderful birthday as you deserve it. Um, so I think that might be true for a lot of us. It might be true for every one of us, that our own unkind behavior lingers with us much longer. Brian says, nice, I saw an owl during the day, got a little clip, can't see so well. Yeah, I have a couple of owls that I need to put up that we got in the daytime. If you're watchful, here's the thing that doing the YouTube shorts has really taught me. I used to think that I was watchful and aware and awake when I was walking, but I probably missed so much. But when you're doing it with a camera, phone camera for me, in my hand, everything's sharpened a bit. I'm paying a little more attention. I'm looking for those photo opportunities. And the times like seeing the owl today, but not being able to capture the photo or the film, the video, were just as important as if I did a video, because I get to spend a moment in just pure awareness of soaking in the vision of that hawk. We saw several cardinals almost hidden in the bushes, and we were unable to get a good shot of them. I'm hoping to catch my neighborhood fox sometime soon, and we'll be having some groundhogs. Oh, and a rabbit. I got a good shot of a rabbit this morning that I put out there. I have very much come to enjoy doing the YouTube shorts, as well as doing the evening readings from my blog, and I might expand it. I really enjoy reading other people's works as well as my own. Like yesterday, reading Galway Kinnell's poem on St. Francis in the Sal, and reading Naomi Shahib. If you guys ever want, I mentioned this the other day, Roger Housden, this is his 10 poems to open your heart. Of course, it's backwards. And he's written several in a series, picking 10 poems on a theme, and just a wonderful way of diving into a poetic world. And I think the deepest wisdom of all comes in the form of a poem, which is why, and I know Destiny, as well as Odom, are drawn towards the Psalms, because the Psalms, I think, are the most poetic sections of the Bible. Excuse me. And it's that language, it's that poetic language steeped in wisdom, or wisdom steeped in poetic language, that really speaks to the heart so much. But she definitely, reading her poem, reading it earlier and then reading it aloud here, got me thinking of that thin line between kindness and empathy, and that we spend so much time stuck in our position and not being able to take a step outside of it until something happens. It's like with gay marriage. a decade ago, it was a huge deal. So many people against it. I never really understood why. Um, a lot of people point out, well, it's against my religion, which is absolutely fine. But why should it apply for someone who's not in your religion? Um, Again, not meaning to get political, but what I notice is that as more and more families um, had members openly come out and say, well, I'm gay and I would love to have a family, they became accepting because now it was real. Now it was about them. And when it's about them, everything changes. It's the nature of the mind. However, here's the big secret. We're all them. Every one of us is part of a them. Every one of us knows someone who's gay, whether they admit it or not. Every one of us knows someone who has some type of quality or issue or circumstance that puts them on the perimeters of acceptedness. And if we knew it, would we cease being friends or family members with them, or would we open our hearts and embrace them? And if we do that for a family member, how do we not do that for everyone? That's the thing that I wonder about. That it seemed to be a deep understanding even when I was a kid, and never having any issues with other people for who and what they were, no matter what it was. Because when you view everyone as not us against them, not even us and them, just us. And I mention this often, Ramana Maharishi's famous line when he was asked by a follower, how do I treat others? And he replied, there are no others. There's just us. If there's just us, if there's no others, then why wouldn't I treat you with the utmost kindness and concern? Let's see if I can find that quote. If those who are not familiar with Ramana Maharishi, he was a self-realized Vedic master. I think he passed away in the 1950s. When he was young, still a teenager, he had a near-death experience of a sort. It was I think he imagined what it would be like to be dead, and it went into meditation. And it was so intense that it actually brought about the conditions of this is what it's like to be dead. And he was transformed. He became, at first, a wandering sadhu, which is a wandering holy man, seeking wisdom. And finally, he settled near a mountain and remained in silence for a long time, decades, before he was, I'm going to use some quotes, discovered and started teaching. One of his quotes just came up here. Let come what comes. Let go what goes. See what remains. That was his prescription for discovering reality. The longer quote, um, when Ramana was asked, how should we treat others? He responded, there are no others. If you are firm in your belief in the guidance of God, stick to it and do not concern yourself with what happens around you. All are seeing God always, but they do not know it. Which reminds me of Mother Teresa's famous reply when she was asked, how do you do what you do? How do you stay in the worst conditions in Calcutta, one of the poorest cities in the world, surrounded and helping those with the worst diseases imaginable? Leprosy, other conditions, and do it day in and day out, not taking a break, not taking vacations, not having weekends off, 24/7 of giving, giving, giving. And she said it was simple. She sees Jesus in his many um, distressing, in his many distressing disguises. If Jesus shows up at your door in a distressing disguise, would you recognize him? If Jesus appeared at the border in a distressing disguise, would you recognize him? Or would you think that is someone other than me? That is someone other than my family? That is someone other than my neighbor? That is someone other than my political party? That's the politics of being kind. Seeing Jesus, seeing Krishna, seeing Buddha in all of their many distressing disguises. We got Mother Teresa coming right up because it wasn't that long ago that I brought her final analysis up, which is always something I come back to for wisdom, because we've mentioned this before. The more you try to build something, anything, the more little bit of good that you try to put out in the world, the greater the shadow you attract. When you know that, and you see those mean comments, and you see the nastiness, and you see people wishing to tear you down, you know you're on the right track. Because you know that you're putting out that light, and it's attracting those shadows. Those people are just doing what they do. No fault. I'm not going to blame anyone. It does make me sad. But when you see it in that light, you really, how can you blame someone for doing what they do? The good thing is, it also gives you an opportunity to maybe shine a bit of that light on what they're doing, and maybe they see it, and maybe they accept a little bit of their own light and no longer wish to cast that large of a shadow. Maybe. Let's see. Destiny says, Eric, I love the area where you're doing your filming. You catch so many things and creatures in nature displaying their beauty. Thank you. And it's literally right outside of my door. The rabbit this morning was at my mailbox. The ducks are in little creek, maybe a quarter of a mile from my house. The deer that I did in that field, again, probably a quarter of a mile right from my house. Very often I'll step outside and I'll see deer. I'll see a fox crossing the street. It's just a really amazing area that it could be. You know, I'm in the middle. I can drive 20 miles and be in Washington, D.C. I can drive 15 miles and be in Baltimore. I can drive an hour and be on the Appalachian Trail. So it always felt like I was in the hub of, of a great area. Destiny says enlightenment appeals when we wake up in our true self. The beauty of enlightenment happens unexpectedly. Um, True. I think we can head in that direction. But I actually had a friend, Facebook friend, who wrote about that, the different ways of awakening. For some people, it's a sudden drop of self, and they recognize that there was never any inherent self, that it was just an appearance within the beingness, within presence. And for others, it's a slower, um, moment by moment awakening. That's always the way it has seemed to be for me, for myself. Um, no big sudden flash where the ego drops away, but more as if I'm slowly slipping out of a role that I assigned myself without even knowing it. And now I smile as that role drops away, and I see that particular light that's within us all. So a quote from Mother Teresa: "Whenever I meet someone in need, it's really Jesus in his most distressing disguise." Which is very similar to what Ramana Maharishi had said. Here's the funny thing with Mother Teresa, Harvard study, they call it the Mother Teresa effect, um, in developing compassion, that they could take people who aren't religious, who aren't Christian, um, who know very little about Mother Teresa, and they would show photos of her working slides, flashing across the screen very quickly, and they would show it to people, and they would measure their empathetic response with all kinds of tests, from blood pressure and heart rate, um, brain waves, and people just catching a glimpse of her would begin to experience the physiological um, symptoms of empathy and compassion, the kindness effect. Um, which is pretty powerful, which means it can be, and the Buddhists have several practices of one being metta, the loving kindness meditation, and I outlined that um, a while back, and I can do so again, that you sit, whatever comfortable meditation uh, position works for you, and you practice breathing meditation just for a bit, letting the breath settle, letting the thoughts settle, and then you introduce metta phrases, metta meaning loving kindness, and it's usually something along the lines of, starting with yourself: may I be happy, may I be at peace, may I be free from suffering and the cause from suffering. 4 easy phrases, and you just repeat that, and you might not feel it, you might not believe it, it doesn't matter, you just repeat it. You keep offering it, you keep offering it, and you keep offering it. Many people think that the hardest aspect is when we start working with other people. I think the hardest place is sometimes we don't feel worthy of accepting loving kindness on our own. We haven't earned it yet. We need to put it out there and give it to other people before we can accept it for ourselves. But until we cultivate it within ourselves, we don't have it to give away. So we begin with ourselves. May I be happy, may I be at peace, may I be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. You can have other phrases if that works better for you, and we'll look that up after. And then you go with someone you love. That's pretty easy. You can go with a mother, your father, your wife, your children, your dog, it doesn't matter. Someone that you love, And you say the same thing. You're wishing them loving kindness. May you be happy. May you be at peace. May you be free from suffering. And this is when it starts getting very sincere because we love that person. It's easy for us to wish that. We're cultivating the power, the essence of loving kindness, and we're giving it to them. And then we go with someone who is a benefactor, a teacher, someone who has done some good for us in our lives. But they're not family, they're not connected to us in that way. And we offer them the loving kindness. And now we have a lot of it because we were offering it to our loved ones. After that, we go on to what's considered a neutral person. It could be the postman. It could be a cashier at the supermarket. It could be the barista that serves us coffee every day. A neighbor, someone that we wave to during a commute. And we offer them loving kindness. May you be happy. May you be at peace. May you be free from suffering and the cause from suffering. Now comes the hard part. We offer it to someone we actively dislike or even hate. And we try to be as sincere as possible. We offer them all that loving kindness that we built up during the entirety of our practice. And we offer it to them, and we offer it to them. Eventually, maybe not the first time you do the practice, or 1,000 times after you do the practice, but eventually, it becomes an actuality. You could see a picture of that person and your heart would melt and you would say, I hope they are free from suffering and the cause from suffering. I hope they are happy. I hope they're at peace. And then as you build that up, you give it away freely without even being in meditation. You just go through the day thinking, offering. And it could be as simple, instead of using the phrase, or that the phrase might come unbidden to you, you could use a simple namaste. Or you could just offer it through a smile. Smile has a lot of real power behind it. That's metta meditation. There's other versions of it. There's a way of taking on the suffering of the world, transmuting it within yourself, and then offering the world loving kindness. Let's look up some loving kindness. Metta, METTA slogans. So you'll see many different ones. The may you be free from suffering and the cause of suffering is a usual refrain in there. Some, if you have anger, may you be free from anger, afflictions, fear, and anxiety. Very good for the political season. May I be safe, peaceful, and free of suffering. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be strong and confident. That one doesn't work as much for me. It's a very powerful meditation, and it will literally transform your life. And if you want to, most especially, again, I keep bringing it back to this time of year, but honestly, it's always political season. We'll survive this November, and then almost immediately, people will be talking for the midterm election. 2 years away, but it's never too soon to get political for the political masses. We need to make it less about politics and more about what can we do for each other? How can we help? How can we serve? Let that be your everyday mantra. How can I serve? What can I give you? I'm not saying that everyone is going to be a saint in their approach, that they're going to say, how may I serve? Even if it puts a negative effect on my life. Not everyone is going to go there. Not everyone needs to go there. But how may I serve to the capacity that I'm able? And I'm giving away all the big secrets here. Your capacity to give grows, gets larger. You have more to give. So start with whatever perimeter that you find yourself. You may only be able to give a smile. You may only be able to give holding the door open for someone. You may only be able to give letting that person who cut you off in traffic go by with a simple smile and a wave and not feel the heat of anger. How dare they? Don't they know that where I go is of the utmost importance? Um, let's see. Destiny says, blessings and love, everyone. I pray that you all have a happy, healthy, and blessed weekend. Um, thank you. And you too as well, Destiny. And I hope you have a wonderful birthday today. So, that again is meta meditation, something that I highly recommend as well, or passage meditation, where you take a spiritual passage that inspires you. Most highly recommended is the Prayer of St. Francis, and you simply use that as the object of your meditation, thinking it silently to yourself, very slowly, each word dropping within, like a small stone dropped within a pool of water, rippling downwards, the effects rippling outwards. Um, when you lose your train of thought, you simply begin at the start again, and you try to work your way through. That is likened to spiritual technology. You are literally training the mind to remember its basic kindness. So, all right, guys, it's a quiet day. Let's leave it at that. I'll be back this evening. I'll read from my blog. I've mentioned before that I'm always willing to, at least to attempt, to read other poems or other works. If there's something that anyone would like me to read, and then we can try to discuss it for a few minutes afterwards, just let me know. Leave it in a comment, and we'll give it a shot. So, again, thank you. And Destiny says, thanks again, Eric. I always enjoy the discussions. I do as well. Thank you. You just keep the great work and you were doing on your channel. Thank you. I really appreciate hearing that. Every so often, probably more often than I care to admit, I have some doubts about my channel and what I'm doing. And so I really appreciate hearing you say that. So thanks again, guys. I will see everyone later.